I want to go to my buddy Mark Meckler, who is leading the battle. He is the General Patton in the battle of the Convention of States, Article 5. And he wrote me an email the other day that so disgusted me, I wanted to bring him on the program. We're going to identify organizations now who are going to be responsible should the Convention of States fail. These pseudo-conservative organizations, we're going to name them, or at least I am, that are going into one state legislature after another in these red states and defeating us as they join with the left. Mark Meckler, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Mark. It's always good to be out here in the field with the grassroots. I just want you to know they love you all over the country wherever I go.
Well, thank you very, very much, and I appreciate everything you and they are doing, and I know you're trying to save the Republic and restore our Constitution. Now, let's go through a few of these. You were in South Dakota. What happened in South Dakota?
Look, in South Dakota, we had our first vote, and we lost. We got a motion for reconsideration. Things looked pretty good, and then you get a bunch of these what I call fake conservative groups, literally, that come in and oppose us. And what they peddle to the legislatures is nothing but fear. They just tell them you need to be scared, you need to be afraid, you need to go hide in the basement because bad things are going to happen if we use the Constitution to save the Constitution. And so we lost that vote. We lost that secondary vote, the chance at the vote. But we lost by a bigger margin than we did last year because these fear groups came in and destroyed the movement right there in South Dakota.
What are these groups? Can you tell us who are they?
Absolutely. So there's a few of them that are leading the charge. One is an organization based out of Virginia, right there on the East Coast, National Association of Gun Rights. They're the arch enemy of the NRA. They call the NRA soft on the Second Amendment. If you research them online, what you'll find is a guy by the name of Mike Rothfeld that runs these things. He's bragged online that he does all this to make millions of dollars profiting off criticizing other conservatives.
I don't know if he does that or not. I just want to say this.
Yep.
He's trashing the movement, right? He's not the National Rifle Association. He's not the Gun Rights of America organization. He's one of these offshoot groups, right?
National Association of Gun Rights, and they have in-state groups across the country. They're fake groups that operate off a single email list.
They will operate. Who else?
So we've also got Eagle Forum. They're a long-term foe. That group is actually falling apart nationally. Their founder, Phyllis Schlafly, sadly passed away last year, but that group is still out there causing trouble, and these are a bunch of ladies that have been on the field, most of them in their 70s, again, pitching nothing but fear in these legislatures. And
then there's another group.
Yep, we've got, I call them the Unconcerned Women of America, but they call themselves the Concerned Women of America. They testified in South Dakota. They do it all over the country. It's literally just a stock speech that they read. It's just a canned response they read in these legislatures. And here's one of the interesting things I'm hearing, Mark. I'm being approached by members of Concerned Women for America, of Eagle Forum, telling us that they support what we're doing, and they have no idea what their crazy leadership is doing. So what we're seeing is a splintering of these groups, because most of them are listening to folks like you and citizens all across the country, but the leadership has gone bad on us.
Mm-hmm. Now, meanwhile, you have volunteers, tens of thousands of them, correct, in these states, trying to advance this effort?
Yeah, actually, Mark, I mean, today we have 2.2 million volunteers in the field. We have volunteers in 100% of all state legislative districts, and literally in the tens of thousands in any state wherever I go. In Texas alone, 115,000 volunteers on the field. In Virginia, over 20,000 volunteers there in Virginia. The numbers are just extraordinary.
We're running up against institutionalized Republican establishment in these state legislatures, too, aren't we? I mean, in other words, just because we're dealing with states, it doesn't mean that these people actually believe in federalism. Doesn't mean they actually believe in constitutionalism. They talk a good game. They complain about Washington, all the mandates. They complain about the EPA and the Education Department. And when push comes to shove, they're really they throw in with them. They buckle, don't they?
Yeah, Mark, we talk about the leftists that are statists. There are a lot of right-wing statists also. These guys identify as Republicans. They talk about federalism. But when they have the chance to use the most fundamental tool of federalism that the founders gave us, they buckle. And they're comfortable the way things are. I always tell people you have a choice. If you're for COS, then you're for bringing power back to the states. If you're against it, then you like power in Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm. So what's happening now? You're just fighting one state after another and trying to do the best you can, I guess.
One state after another, and I don't want to be too dismal, Mark. Lots of great stuff is going on. We'll be in Utah this week. We've already passed the House there. We have a hearing in the Senate this coming week. It's hot. We passed in the Senate in the Senate today. We'll go to a full floor vote next week. Missouri, we passed the House committee today. I expect that to go to the floor next week. In Texas, we have a hearing in the Senate on Thursday. They're holding it on the floor of the Senate. They're making a big deal out of it. I expect that to pass. We got North Dakota is hot. Arkansas is hot, but we need help there. We got a bunch of people who flipped on us in Arkansas, 5 people who were for us and then voted against us. We're going to get a revote there. Your listeners in Arkansas can jump in and really help us in the Senate there. Nebraska looks hot going into committee. Missouri's hot. Arizona's looking good. We've got a lot of great stuff going on around the country. But in every one of those states, Mark, we're going to face those same naysayer groups. We really need folks to
All right, so the groups are the John Birch Society, Concerned Women of America, Eagle Forum, and what's the gun group?
The National Association of...
Well, they don't represent me. Let me tell you something. I have 5 weapons and a zillion rounds. They don't represent me. And I'm a lifetime member of the National Rifle Association. And I like the group, the Gun Rights for America. I don't know who the hell these people are. They don't talk for me. They don't speak for me.
No,
where are they located?
They don't speak for any gun owners I know. And, in fact, a lot of the gun owners are surprised when they hear this group is in their state causing all these troubles, because we're here to protect the Second Amendment. We're here to protect the Constitution. These guys, frankly, are anti-constitutionalists.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, keep up the battle. We strongly support your efforts, my friend.
I really appreciate it, Mark. And, again, the grassroots in all these states I go to, they just want to thank you for your efforts in this fight. We need all of us, and you are very appreciated and loved out there, my friend.
Well, and I appreciate everything you and they are doing. This is the way it's supposed to work. God bless you, my friend. And it's funny, Mark Meckler and I started out opposed to Convention of States. And then we studied it. And then said, wait a minute, why are we opposed to this? This is exactly what the framers of the Constitution wanted us to do. And so you have these fools in state Senate and state legislatures all over the country who pretend to be conservatives, who will tell you, hey, look, nobody's smarter than the framers of the Constitution in Philadelphia. We can't open it up to the liberals like this, while they're whining about abortion and whining about states' rights and know damn well there's not a thing they can do about it in the Virginia legislature, the South Dakota legislature, the Wyoming legislature. And the fact of the matter is, they can't even tell you how there would be a runaway convention, because it's an impossibility. Because 38 state legislatures or 38 state conventions have to ratify whatever comes out of that meeting. Just as they have to ratify whatever would come out of a constitutional amendment proposed by Congress, 2/3 of both bodies. It is a lie. The ignorance is astounding. And they raise money on this. They raise money to fight you and me. And if this thing is killed, it's going to be because of these so-called conservative organizations and these phony conservatives in these state legislatures. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
I've just met like the kindest, most welcoming people who have made me feel empowered.